Welcome to a very different stream. Today we are going to be doing a productivity hour. We're going to be using the Pomodoro method. We're going to have some good vibes. We're going to hang out and we are going to work together. So let me know where you're watching from, and more importantly, let me know what you will be working on. So we're going to be working together over the next hour, and every 10 minutes we'll be checking in with a benchmark of our project, right? So I am going to be working on some typography and some kind of promo images for a conference that I run called Creative South coming up in just a few months. But we need to do some type treatments. I want to do kind of an SNL style promo with the overlays of letters and treatment of photos. So here's what I have. I have set my goal for the end of the hour. I would like to have a action created to be able to create that type and treat those photos. So if you are going to be working on something with me, go ahead, open that file and get ready, because we are going to be doing every 10 minutes a check-in. So the way to do Pomodoro is to take a little break, to set goals for each 10 minutes. And by the end of the stream, we will have all of those goals set. So here are my 5 goals. I'll show it to you. We'll pull it way up here. There you go. So for 10 minutes, we are going to look for the perfect font. For 10 minutes, we're going to play around with some effects and see if we can find a good effect that works for us. Then we'll spend 10 minutes doing a photo treatment, 10 minutes combining the photo with the type and stock, and then 10 for creating the system and doing an action in Photoshop. So today we'll be in Adobe Illustrator as well as Adobe Photoshop. And let me know in chat, what are you working on? What are you going to be spending the next hour? And you can join me as you go. We can spend some time, think about it. Think about that project that would be really great if it was done before the weekend. Open it right now. And we're going to be spending the next 50 minutes together finishing that project. We'll do check-ins every 10 minutes. It's going to be a great time. I'll teach you some tips and tricks as we move on and as I work through my workflow. So here we go. The first step of the process is going to be fonts. We are going to be spending 10 minutes looking for the perfect font. In my time, it is now 12:02. So if you're watching this and you want to skip ahead and learn more about playing around with effects in Photoshop, skip ahead 10 minutes because we are going to stay exactly on time. So let's start our 10-minute timer. Everybody get ready, and 10 minutes starts now. So actually, I'm going to disappear. Hold on. Give you a little more to see there. So we are going to start our 10-minute timer, and let's go ahead and go in. We are going to create and find the perfect font. And I think this is going to take less than 10 minutes, so maybe we can pick up some time. And I know that I want to get this kind of late night talk show vibe, and maybe even like an SNL kind of like Subway, a little bit of character in there. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to start out and look at recommendations and see what is in recommendations. We're using fonts.adobe.com to find the perfect font here. And let's kind of scroll through and see if there's anything that looks interesting. I think this is interesting, but not right for what I want. I want that really after hours, New York, LA kind of unique vibe, something that feels like it would be on a sign. I love that look, that it would be like on some kind of a navigation sign that I would be riding the subway and see. So none of these are looking super interesting to me, or not really looking like what I want to use. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start going in to all fonts. So in all fonts, we're able to play around, and people are saying possible layout ideas, no idea, but they're so cool. Carol is playing around with Adobe Firefly during our time, which is great. Spend the hour working with Adobe Firefly, set some goals for yourself every 10 minutes, check in and see what you can do. So I'm just going to type out here, Creative South, and see if we can start to merge this down. We can come into Adobe Fonts over here, and I think that I want to do some kind of cool sans serif, maybe something decorative. Let's try a sans serif for now. And then as far as spacing, I want it to be probably a regular width. We want it to be pretty like regular contrast. I don't want it to have a lot of contrast as I'm looking through this. And I want something like input sans. I think that's kind of cool. And here, I think I want it to be a double story. So that means it's going to have some of those overhangs, which I think are really interesting within a font as you work on it. So I want something with a little bit of character, something that's a little bit thicker. So I'm actually going to increase the weight to something that's a little bit thicker. That'll give us a lot of space to play around with the effects that we're going to be adding inside the type. So Uzo, not quite doing it for me. I have an idea of one that I might try. I want something that's very kind of rigid. Ooh, I like that. I'm a big fan of that. We still got 5 minutes on font, so we got a little bit of time. I like that. I think that Field Gothic Standard is going somewhere that I'm a fan of. I think that might be the one. So I'm going to go ahead and add this to my family, Field Gothic Standard, and I'm going to compare it with one other that I think might be interesting. So I'm going to come into Illustrator, and it actually syncs across Illustrator. So I have all of my things and pieces here for me to work on, and let's see what some of these fonts look like. So this one that we just synced is called Field Gothic. I'm going to come over here and go to Field Gothic. Oh, it might still be loading in. We'll give it just a second to load that font in and see what happens here. Close that, these selected. Ah, it's thinking. So if you're ever trying to sync fonts and Illustrator like takes a breath for a second, it's because it's syncing the font. So you know it's working. So there we go. And watch, I bet it's going to be there. What was it called? Field Gothic. And there it is. Yeah, so it was syncing the font. It just needed to take a little breath. So I think this is actually interesting. Okay, so I'm liking the way that these are looking. Let's go ahead and do one more link here. And this one, I want to play around with a kind of black letter font. And hello, Rebecca, nice to see you. Alejandro says, I like to select fonts based on their properties. I agree. We also can look for fonts right here in the menu on its own. It looks like we do have about 3 minutes left on finding the font, which I think is the perfect time because I think that we're close to getting the font that I want. I had one in mind that is, I feel like it was a black letter, and this one right here, Germania 1. I think this is really interesting and could be a cool kind of vibe for the late night talk show look that I'm going for. It does feel like it might have a little bit too much character, but let's play around with it and see what happens. All right, so we got a couple minutes to decide. Let's look at these side by side and see what happens. So what are the pros and cons? And this is what I love about the Pomodoro method and doing a productivity hour like this is I know I have 2 minutes to make a decision. I could go back and forth between these two and kind of, weigh the pros and cons, but I need to make a decision quick and get to a point quick. So what do I like about this? I like that this one is a little bit more structured. It doesn't have as much character, and I can kind of just inject whatever I want into it. This one feels like it has a lot of character to me, and it almost feels like it has too much. Let's play around and see if any of these that are a little bit darker are going to work. And I actually like the Demi Compact a lot better. So between this one and this one, I think the Demi Compact looks really good. So I'm going to eyedropper those. And I think, chat, that we have found our font with 1 minute to spare on our timer. So hopefully your first goal that you tried to create, I know we're working fast, 10 minutes. Hopefully the first step of your productivity is checked. Now, we are going to use this font right here, and we're just going to note it. We are using Field Gothic. And now the next part of my process, we're home for the holidays. Oh, hold on, chat. There we go. We'll hang out here. And we're here together in the darkness. Why is the darkness? Why is it the darkness? We'll leave a little dialogue. So right here, next up, we have effects play. And that is the next 10 minutes of what we are going to be working on is I want to play around with effects. And again, we're trying to work in the most efficient manner we can. We've got a little bit of a plan here. If you're watching this on the replay, go ahead, pause it, make your plan, figure out what you want to accomplish in the next 50 minutes, and we will do that together. All right, so we have our font. I think this looks pretty good. I do think that I want them to be stacked like this. So I'm going to stack this, and I actually have hotkeys on my mouse. If we wanted to change the leading, you can come in here and change the leading right there. But I have hotkeys on my mouse so that I can come in here and actually just change the leading using a hotkey on my mouse. So I think that looks pretty good to me. And let's take this into Photoshop and start playing around with some effects. We have on the timer 10 minutes to play around with effects. So let's get started and let's open Photoshop to play around with some effects. So Creative Mad Libs, if you didn't watch this, it happened a little bit earlier today. I'm gonna go ahead and open up a 1920 by 1080. And I don't have a goal right now. My goal right now is to just play around and see what kind of effects I can get with these letters. And I know I want this kind of shine through light effect that has some like turbulence and kind of like texture to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to come into Adobe Stock. And I think that I have the effect in my brain. We're going to do maybe just brayer ink on paper. And this is going to give me something that I want to have some texture. And I'm thinking of the kind of technique that I want to play around with. We're doing effects play. So I'm thinking about the different effects that could work for this. And I'm actually going to grab, I think this one looks pretty good. I'm going to license this, and you can use stock.adobe.com/free if you'd like to do some free assets from Adobe Stock. But as this downloads, I'm going to go ahead and bring it into Photoshop, and we'll let it download real quick. There we go. So I'm going to drag this into Photoshop, and chat, let me know, what are you working on? What's something that you'd like to have done before the weekend is out? Before the week is out, excuse me, the weekend is almost here. Let me know what's something that you could be working on with us today, and hopefully something that you can make some progress on by the end of this stream. So what I'm going to do is, I know that if I use an effect to mask out the channels of an object, I can also take that content off of the thing underneath it. So right here is the letters, and I want to take the channels of the texture out of the letters. So we're going to window, and I'm going to open up my channels right here. And channels, I'm going to pull up here so you all can see them. And I'm going to hold Control and click on RGB. That is going to select anything that has any color. So anything that is black or gray, and it will select it in that grayscale. So now if I come in here and with that selection, click on the mask, it is going to mask that text, right? And you can see it's masked that text all the way out. Now I might want to invert that. So I'm going to hit Control I to invert. And there you go. We got this kind of wonky, wobbly text, which I think is looking good. So next, I do want to maybe kind of soften out the edges of this a little bit. So I am going to start adding in some effects. I know that maybe I want a little bit of a blur. So we're going to do a little bit of a Gaussian blur. And then maybe I want to change that to, no, not dissolve. I don't think that's quite what I want. Okay, I think that that's looking okay. What I want to do now is I'm going to try to make it so that it moves and is a little bit wonky. I want to change the text a little bit. So I'm just going to do like a, let's do like a crumpled paper, and see if I can get a displacement map to move that paper around. And I think this is actually going to be a really, really good one. So I'm going to grab this and license. I have about 6 minutes to play around with this effect. So I think that I know where I want to go with it, but let's see if we can get that. And then we can hit the check mark and continue on. So we've got the paper here, and using a displacement map, basically what it's going to do is it's going to take the highlights and lowlights and then augment your text or your image by the amount of value of highlight or lowlight, right? So here's my explanation of that, is I'm going to grab this all the way up. There we go. And then from here, I'm going to save this file. So I'm just going to Control-Shift-S, and I'm going to save it as displace. I'm going to save that on my computer. I'm just going to throw it on my desktop for now. and we are going to save that file. So now what happens is I can actually displace this text here using that displacement map. And here's what I'm going to do. Excuse me. I'm going to select this and then go to Filter, Distort, and Displace. And now you can change the scale. So right now we're going to keep it at 10. I'm going to hit OK. And then we select that displacement map that we just created. And what that's going to do is it's going to move the text. And you saw it move there. What it was doing is it was displacing it. So it was displacing it based on the paper. Now, it was not quite what I wanted it to be. And so what you can do with the displacement map is actually add a gradient map on top of it to just change the contrast. So we are going to do contrast. Oops, where's levels? We're going to do levels, and we're just going to bring these in so that it gets a lot darker and a lot lighter and gets a little bit more contrast through. So I do want more. There we go. I think that that will be good to give us some stuff. And someone's saying, I saw Rocket League in that folder. Yes. Wade, Acuff, and I play Rocket League every now and then. So I'm going to save this displacement map, and then we are actually going to save this as a different folder. And this is going to be type test. All right, 4 minutes, y'all. We're getting down to the wire. So now that I have my new displacement map, I'm going to try it one more time. Filter, Distort, Displace on that type. We're going to do 10 to 10, hit OK, and then choose the displacement map right here. And with that increased contrast, you can see that we started to get some weird little edges, which is what I want, is that kind of like glowing look. I think that that is just about what I'm going for. So the last thing that I want to do is I want to put this on a black background, right? That's already looking kind of cool. So I want to put this on a black background just because I know that it will be kind of that late night or even like a dark blue. So let's try to do some dark blue down here. I'm just using the paint bucket tool to put that there. And now I'm going to add some layer styles, and this will hopefully allow it to glow a little bit and give us that like, I don't know, that glowy look. And I think I might actually put some Adobe stock into the shape. 3 minutes, let's try it. All right, so let's try the effect that I'm looking for, and let's just do like light streaks. And I want this to be kind of like glowing lights, like traffic kind of headlights. Not anything that is, nothing that is in movement. All these are like in movement, and I want something that just like has some glow to it. I actually think this one might be good. So I'm gonna use this one, which is just blurred. We could probably create this ourselves, but again, we have 2 minutes. We got to make our decisions very, very quickly. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to drag this into Adobe Photoshop, make it as large as the text, and then all I need to do is hold Alt or Option in between these layers, and it will lock the texture that I'm working on to the text. And that's getting a lot closer to what I'm looking for with this design. I think that that's looking a little bit closer to what I want for that kind of late night glowing look. But I think I might want a little more show through. We got about 2 minutes left, so that's fine. I'm going to play around with this a little bit more and see maybe if we move this around. All right, I think this is going somewhere. I definitely think that it needs to be a little brighter. So I'm going to use a curves layer here. So we're going to go to curves. And then right behind me, let me move this up, is the curves layer. So here with curves, we can actually just play around with the brightness. You can play around with some of the colors. So I'm gonna give this a bit more brightness, a lot more contrast. There we go. That's already looking pretty cool. Let's try to get some more red in here. All right. Greens. Okay. Blue, we probably want less. Ooh. Okay, I think this is close to what I want. And I actually might take the texture out a little bit. Let me look down here in my layers. There is this texture that I'm not sure I like, so I'm going to disable the layer mask. See, I actually like that a little bit more than having the texture. Chat, what do you think? Do we want to have this with the texture or without the texture? Let me know in the chat. We also can turn off the displacement map, which I don't think is as interesting. I like having that displacement map on there to give it a little bit of that texture. So let me know what we think with this. And then I also think that I'm going to add in some noise. So the way that I like to add noise is Control-Shift-N, which is new. We're gonna change the blending mode to overlay and fill with an overlay neutral color. And then I just lock that down to my layer right here using Alt-Option between. And we are going to add in some noise. All right, so let's do 30 on the noise there. Pretty noise. And someone's saying out, so no texture. Chat, I'm not mad about this. I think this is looking pretty cool, actually. Right? It's super cool. Yeah, I think that it's looking good. I like this style. I like this style. I'm not mad about it. All right, so chat, we are over by 1 minute. So that means that we have now figured out the effects play. I like this. I can't go up and down with the screen, and I want you to be here with me. And I'm wearing all black. I can't talk. We don't have time to talk. We're designing. And someone's saying, I agree with Carol, a little more love for the ES. Oh, like a little more color. Okay, we will come back to that. Actually, we're in photo treatment now. So next up on our list, we are now in, we just finished, I believe, 20 minutes. So we are in the 20 to 30 minutes right here. And the third one is photo treatments. So we are going to count some of that time to this type. And I know we're not supposed to, we're cheating a little bit, but I do think that that is a good point out from Emily Poulin. Thanks, Emily. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to move this around and see if there are places to where I could incorporate more of this kind of color, because I really like that. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to rasterize this layer. So we're going to rasterize layer right there. And now I'm just going to use the clone. Excuse me. I'm going to use the clone stamp. I bit my lip as I sneezed. We were in so zen, and then it was just ruined. So I'm going to grab this and make it a very soft brush. And you can see I can kind of paint in on this edges some of that extra, little bit of those extra pieces, just to give me some pops of color. And I think that that is looking really cool, right? I think this is really cool. I'm not mad about this at all. So let's go ahead and go with this as a look for our names. So the next thing that I want to do, chat, I just bit my lips so hard when I sneezed. Just know if I start crying, it's because I just destroyed the inside of my lip. Okay, so for photos, let's go ahead and use this photo here. And let's go ahead and bring this into Photoshop. So I'm just going to paste this into Photoshop so that we can play around with this photo treatment. And I'm going to post it in as a smart object. Why not? Actually, I should probably grab a picture of James Martin. Let's do that. Where's James? Oh, James, I think is James is a small picture. All right. So let's go ahead and drop the photo in here. And I do want to do a kind of photo treatment. And let's see what happens if I incorporate some more of that like light leak into these. So I probably want to try to do a gradient map real quick. Let's do a curves adjustment. So let's go to curves, and then here, let's just do some toning. So let's do some very simple toning. And this will help us. Let's brighten everything up just a little bit. And then let's also do some cross processing. So let's change the colors here, and you can see that it's going to give us this nice different look as we start to play around with these colors. So green, probably a little less green. There we go. And blue up there. Cross process that into, right? It's got this kind of, I want this like very SNL toned look. All right, I think that that is good. And then I also am going to overlay this image, which I actually think is going to be a big like thing in our design process. I'm going to overlay this onto the photo. So we're just gonna lock it right there. And I'm gonna change the blending mode here to kind of scroll through and see if any of these look good or interesting or doing anything for me as I work through the design. Oh, right there. So hard light, I think, looks pretty cool on this. It looks like it's a little bit too much. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to add a mask here. And then I'm going to start brushing in some dark. So brushing in with black is going to allow us to kind of keep some of these elements. And I can even brush back in with white. And that will allow us to keep some of these elements in. And have these really cool like photo treatments. So chat, already, what do we think about this? I'm already not mad about it. I think it looks kind of cool. Let me know what you think. I'm not mad about this. We only have 5 minutes, but like we only have 5 minutes left in this segment. But let me move this so that it's under the text and we can see what it all looks like together. I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about it at all. Okay, so like if we moved this group, let's say we move this group over here. Got it. And then what I might want to do is add in maybe like a cityscape. And yes, someone is saying I remove the background. I actually 100% agree. And that's what I'm going to do right now. I need to rasterize this here, which again, I am being destructive in my workflow. That's how we do it. That's where we live right now. And I'm going to open up the properties panel. Properties panel always has, where is the properties panel? It says it's open. Properties right there. Properties panel at the very bottom has a remove background button. So I'm just going to remove the background here. Okay, cool. That did a pretty good job at removing the background. If it doesn't do it, you can actually just select and then use the contextual toolbar, and you can go right here, and we are going to contract the selection by 2 pixels, and that is just going to pull everything in a little bit, and then I can just brush out the areas. Oops. I can brush out, let me invert that. You can actually just click right here and brush out around the edges, and you'll see now I got a much cleaner crop on the image. So I think that that is looking good. And I want to maybe move over just a touch right there. I think this is definitely looking cool. Adding some cool pieces there. And actually, I might want this to just be like over hard light. I'm not mad about this actually going over the whole image here. That's too much over there. But let's just scale it all the way up. I think that's looking pretty cool. I think the name can probably come over a little bit. And then let's put like a cityscape in the background. So I'm going to come back to stock and we are going to do city at night. And chat, we are photo treatment for 2 more minutes. 2 more minutes, chat. I think we're getting it. I think we're getting it. And I think that we're actually going to buy some extra time to create some actions to help us do this very quickly. So I'm just going to add in the cityscape in the background. Yeah. Yep. Uh-huh. Yep. Yep. Okay. So then let's see what happens if like this text that we have kind of scales down a little bit. And we're being really loosey-goosey right now, but I am trying to keep some copies of things around just to make sure nothing gets too crazy. But I mean, what if we did this kind of thing? And I want this to like have some more dynamicness to it. I don't know how to like communicate what I want it to do, but I want it to be a little bit more dynamic. And so let's see what happens if I go through some of these blending modes. So I'm just going to kind of scroll through and chat. Let me know if any of these look interesting. None of multiplies are going to look good. Color burn might look good. Lighten, all right, is giving us something there. Screen, not much. Color dodge, too intense. Add is not great. Lighter colors missing some. Overlay, I think, is getting closer. Hard light, I had hopes, but it didn't. Vivid light, no. Pin light. All right, none of these are really doing what I want them to do, but what was happening with overlay is kind of what I want for the effect. So what I might do is make a copy of this. So we're gonna hit Command J to make a copy of it. And then I'm going to change it to overlay and then offset a little bit. Ooh, and then maybe, chat, we go to filter and we convert for smart filters. Oh gosh. And then we're gonna do a motion blur and I'm gonna give it, yeah, some motion. So not a lot, but just a little bit of that motion to give us a very subtle effect. I think it's pretty cool, right, chat? How do we feel about this treatment? I know it's over his face. I should probably fix that right now. All right, I'll fix that right now so that we don't have to worry about it later. Pretty cool. The text could probably be smaller. But chat, how do we feel about this? I really like it a lot. I think it's pretty good. Okay. Chat says yes. Next up on our 10 minutes, it looks like we are moving into combining the stock with the imagery. Great. So this is where I'm going to spend some time playing around with creating an action. So what I'm going to do is I am going to Control N. I'm going to make a new document here. And this new document is going to be 1920 by 1080. And I'm going to use this for the text to try to remember the system that we used to build the text. So let's go ahead and I'm going to do another one of these. So here's Emily Mills, James Martin. We already did James. Yvonne. And let's do one more. Let's do Lincoln Design Co. So we've got all of these and let's go ahead and align them so it looks good. And now what I want to do is I'm going to bring this in. We're going to bring it as a smart object and I'm going to scale it up. And now that it's pasted, we can start recording because we want Photoshop to do the same thing again and again and again. So we're going to go up to actions and we are going to make a new action here. So we're going to go to new folder. And in this folder, we are going to set it to say CS type. From there, we can hit the plus button and that is going to give us a way to name our action. I'm going to put it orange and we're going to hit record. Now it's recording and everything that we do is going to affect the type. So I know that what we did first is we definitely worked with the, what are the words that I want? We worked with the displacement map. So we're going to go to filter. We're going to go to distort and we're going to do displace. The 10 and 10 looked good, so I'm gonna hit OK. And then I'm going to select displace, our file right there. Hit open, and now we have this displacement map, which is already looking really, really cool on its own. So I'm gonna look over here and see what else we have on our type that I can glean information to build my action. And I could go back and just watch the stream, but we're not gonna do that because I think that I can figure out what I did. So we added some texture, there's a noise layer, and then we changed the curves and we added in this Adobe stock piece. So let's go ahead and add in that Adobe stock piece. We actually won't need to. Let's do that. And somebody, yes, thank you, CJ. We need to add in the noise layer next, I think, because that would be the next thing to do. So we're gonna hit Control-Shift-N. And that is going to give us the noise layer. We're going to do overlay, fill with neutral overlay color, hit OK, filter, noise, add noise. We're going to add in a lot of noise, hit OK. I'm actually going to blur that noise just a little bit. So we're going to do a Gaussian blur and I'm going to blur it by 0.4. 0.4 is the minimum amount to change. And then we are going to lock it onto our layer right here, which looks good to me. And from there, I think that we are going to that's what we're going to do. So we're going to stop it there and let's see what happens. So I am going to add back in our nice cool texture here. I'm going to pull this over everything, and then I actually am going to change it to, I believe we were using hard light. What is the one that we used here? Oh, it is just locked in with some curves. Okay, I actually probably did too many steps, but let's see what happens here. So I'm going to lock this in. The text is still black. That's got in there. Oh, chat, I got lost in the sauce. Oh, no. Oh, no. We're trying to stay efficient. We're trying to stay efficient. Okay, it was the curves. The curves are what we're missing, I think. So let me grab the curves and pull them over here. That is exactly what we're missing. Look at those colors. That's really cool. So let's put on a dark background. Yeah, that's what we're looking for, chat. That is what we are looking for. And then we can come in and do some manual adjustments and whatnot. And someone's saying outline in text only when mixed photo. Yes. So let's go ahead and do, real quick, I'm going to try to do this one more time to see if our action worked. So I'm going to grab Lincoln Design Co. And this is going to save us some time on the texturing. Is I'm going to put this here, blow up Lincoln Design Co., and then run our CS type action and hit play. Chat, what happened? Oh, select next document. That's what happened. Okay. So I need to delete this. I don't know what happened there, but we're going to delete that. And then I am going to delete this, and this should work now. So because I went to a different document, it actually recorded that. And hello, Carolyn. Nice to see you. So I'm going to blow this up, and then we are going to do our displacement, hit play, and boom. We got a new layer with our noise on there. And then actually what I want to do is maybe just do this. I'm going to bring this up here. I'm going to put everything in a group and then latch it onto the group. That will actually work really, really well. And someone's saying he's ready for SNL after Creative South. Yes. I also could do that probably with this noise layer so that I don't have to deal with it, is it could just go over the whole thing. And this is already looking pretty cool. I am not mad about this at all. Where's our curves layer? Let's pull our curves layer all the way up as well. That's going to help us with all of these pieces. Yeah. Can you do the original folder and replace name and photo in a new group? You know what I can do actually, chat? Hold on. I might not need to do any of this. What I think I can do. Okay, that is fine. Where's the text? Okay, what I can do, I think, is just double click, because this is a vector smart object, and I think I can just change out the smart object. So let's see if this works. This might not work at all, but let's see what happens. So I double click in Photoshop on the smart object, and then I'm going to replace it with this one and save. Now, when I close it and come back into Illustrator, yes, into Photoshop, yes, yes, that's a great, great call out. Thank you so much, Carol, for that call out. Fantastic idea. Because it is a smart object, all I needed to do was replace that smart object. And now you can see some of the edges are getting a little bit weird here, but that's fine. I'm actually going to use generative fill to fill in the rest of this. Oh, generative fill. Why are you not? All right, so this is there. Let's see if we can just fill in. Oh, actually, no, I don't want to do that. I'm going to just clone stamp in the rest of this, just so if anything else has to come in, it will be able to like fill it out. Oh no, I liked those colors that it was having. Cool. I think that's filled out the rest. Okay, I think that this is looking good. And so something else that I can do is, because this is a smart object, I can actually grab this and change. I think that I could change it. Hold on. I could convert this into a smart object to have the motion blur on it. Okay, let's try that. So what I need to do, I need a copy of it with the motion blur though. I don't think there's a way to get around that. Let me think. I don't think there's a way to get around putting the motion blur on this, which is fine. Because if I do the motion blur, yeah, it's going to convert for smart filters, and I don't want to do that. I want another copy of it that then can be on the motion blur, which could be good. So we've got 20 minutes left. We're actually way ahead of schedule, which is great. So let me know, what have you been working on? Have you been working with me this whole time? Hopefully you've been working with me. Hopefully you have something that you've created. We'll take you back into my office. Welcome to my office. What have you created, chat? Let me know what you've been working on during the stream. We've had an hour and we were 40 some minutes into it, but I wanted to make sure that we are working together. We're being productive. We're trying to get something done before the end of the weekend. So let me know what that is. Let's go ahead and do a photo treatment, because I think that that also would be something to write an action for. So I'm going to go ahead and just grab one of these photos. And we're going to open up a new document. And so if we have the photo in here, I'm going to post it as pixels because it would be pixels. What we can do is we are going to use the properties panel again, scroll all the way down to the bottom, and just hit remove background. Boom. So it'll remove the background for us, which I think is cool. I think the image that we have of the city is great to just drop in the background here. Where is my scaling? There we go. So we're going to scale this down and put it in the background. All right, already looking cool. I think that the texture that we had over the image was really great. So I'm going to grab that as well and leave it over here. All right, it's going to go in front of the person. All right, let's scale this down. Yeah, just some cool like light leaks. Right? That's looking pretty cool, chat. I'm not mad about it. I am going to contract this selection by just 1 pixel this time, and that's going to give me a little bit of a tighter selection so that when I do a new mask, you can see there it just gives me a tighter selection on the edge, which I think works a little bit better for me. Okay, I'm not mad about this at all. Let's see if we can do an overlay with the text. And see if we can get that to work. So this speaker is Felix Olaha. So let's grab that. And then I actually want to grab it from our type that we had created here. There's Felix. And let's, yeah, okay. So let's run our action real quick. And I actually think that I'm going to do it right in here. Here we go. Good luck, chat. Put this down in the corner, I think, right there. And our displacement map actually might be an issue here. So let's see what happens, chat. With this selected, I actually might change this to white. Let's see what happens if we do this as white text with our action. Got about 10 minutes to get one of these. And I think that we're really close to actually having a workflow. So let's have it be a little white over there. And then let's run our action here, which is our CS type. We're going to hit play and see what happens. Okay, so what happened is the displacement map is a little bit too hardcore for the size of this image. So I'm going to undo a lot of that. And then from here, I can select this displace right here. And maybe I want to rethink how much it displaces, or I can do it manually. So let's rethink the way that it displaces. And I'm actually going to delete this. And then I can come up here and we can record and I can redo that. So I'm going to go to filter and you can change your displacement maps as much as you want. So I'm actually just going to do 1 pixel here and hit OK, choose my displacement map and hit OK. And there we go. We got a little bit. We actually could probably do 2. So I am going to stop this, delete that. And we are going to delete our displacement map. And I am going to, oops. I'm going to do that one more time. So we're going to record. We're going to go to filter. We are going to go to distort, displace, 2 pixels by 2 pixels, hit OK, choose our displacement map, hit open. And there we go. We got this nice little displacement map, which I think is good. So we're going to stop and then I can actually drag this up here. So now we have our workflow. I'm going to paste in the name of the guest right here. And from here I can hit play and watch what happens. Boom. We got that really cool effect very quickly using the, what's the word I wanted? The action that we wrote. So I can move that around. It's got that nice effect on it. And then I also can just grab the elements that we have here, which is just this kind of light leak. And I'm going to put this right there and it will clip in for me. Let's pull this down so we get some cool effect on there. It's kind of cool, chat. I'm not mad about it. I'm not mad about this at all. It's kind of cool. It's, yeah, creating actions. It's pretty great. Yeah. So now what I can do is just make a copy of this whole group. And that's where we put the little zip, the blur on it. So let's do blur. Let's do motion blur. Yeah. Let's do it by a lot less. Yep. And then let's change the blending mode to like an overlay. That's cool. That's definitely really cool. I think it's clashing a little bit with the background here. Chat. This is not bad. This is not bad at all, chat. Kind of cool, right? I like it. I like it a lot. Is it better without the displacement map? Let's see that as a question. And we'll reserve these last 10 minutes as kind of a is it better without thing. So let me turn off the displacement map on that text. Let's see what it looks like. It's not, right? The displacement map is good. I think the displacement map is good. I think the displacement map is good. I'm not mad about the displacement map. 0% anger. Okay, so then let's try this. Let's do... Let's try to do this. Let's see what happens. Yes, absolutely use it. I agree. It looks pretty cool. So I'm going to create a new document. This is just going to be a 1080 by 1080. And see if we can get that same look down that we had here. And I believe that we used white type on that, right? It was white, yes. So we're going to paste this in. We do need to add in that background, but I'm just going to run my action here. Boom. We got all of our pieces. I am going to start adding in this city background, which I think is great. Oh, that's very small. I'm actually going to drag that in. Hold on. Cool. Not mad about it. Displacement map can go up to 10 probably. Maybe a little too much, but we'll keep it. Okay, and now I think that I can run the color texture piece on top. Yep. Yep. And I actually am going to augment the color of this. So I'm going to go to hue and saturation. And of course I want it to be orange. So I can just click and drag and it's going to give me that nice kind of bright orange. It's a little bit red. Yep. I think that looks pretty cool. And then let's add on the motion blur on top of this. So a group of it. And then we are going to go to filter, convert for smart filters. And then we are going to filter, blur, motion blur. Okay, and then change the blending mode to overlay. Okay, okay. It went somewhere. Let's drop this on top here. And this, I think we had a soft light. All right, not mad about it. I really like this treatment a lot. Chat, what do we think? What do you think? We got a couple minutes left. Let me know what you think. And also let me know what you created during the last hour. Put it in chat. Send me a DM wherever you want. And someone's saying texture, 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 texture. Yes, we love texture here a whole lot. And someone's saying save it. Never. Never save. We go the whole stream without saving. That's just how it works. I do probably need to save this. But again, we have the action already saved in Photoshop and we understand the process that we have. So let's check to see, what happened in our process. First of all, we chose a font. And that font is right here, is Field Gothic. We used Adobe fonts to find that font. And I think that it came out pretty good. I think this is a good choice from what we wanted it to be. So next up, we started playing around with effects and photo treatments. So we spent about 20 minutes doing effects and photo treatments. And here we found the effects that we really liked here and the photo treatment of the kind of coloring the photo, which I think looks pretty good. We didn't actually do the curves to this photo. Let's do that real quick. This is why we review our process to make sure that we aren't missing any pieces, which we did. So I'm going to lock these curves onto the photo right there. Oh, I almost just unplugged my computer with my foot. So we have the photo treatment on there, which looks good, right? We understand that that's the system that we're working for. And then we started to combine them all together right there, combine and stack, and then create a system and actions. And I think that we've created a pretty good system and have actions to be able to execute this quickly. And we're going to test that right now because we have 2 minutes left. And I'm going to go ahead and grab our friend. Let's do this one here. And we are going to, I'm just going to grab all these pieces and right there, turn them off. And check this out. We are going to put in our person right there. We're going to use the remove background. Easy peasy. Got it. From there, we are going to grab the background that we have here of the city. And it's all about building and understanding systems. We do want to contract this by about 1 pixel. And then we'll remask it. There we go. From there, we do want to grab the curves layer that we have here. So we're going to grab those curves, bring it up above the person. And again, we could do all of these curves uniquely and record them into the action. I'm just not doing that right now. I also am going to put the light leaks above, which I think is going to look pretty cool. Let's maybe move these around to give it a little bit of a different light leak. And then we can add in the name. This speaker's name is, let's find out right here, Yvonne. So we're going to grab Yvonne. Where are you, Yvonne? Right here. Grab Yvonne, and we are going to put it down in the corner in white. Right here in the corner in white. And then from there, we can run our action, and this should pull everything together. There we go. Yvonne has got the action. Looks good. We've got the texture. We've got the noise. And then all we need to do is add in that nice little extra light leak that we've been using and lock it into that type. I'm gonna delete the mask here. Look at that. So just like that, we can do very, very quickly. We have the system that we need to create all of our name tags. And you can see we have one here and we have one here. It is keeping that look. It is keeping things cohesive, looking great. And we've created in just an hour a system that we can use to build out a whole campaign, to build a bunch of images. We have the art direction, we have the styles, we have the actions, and we've done that all in an hour in little 10-minute spurts. So if you're trying to get something done this weekend, take it in 10 minutes, spend 1 hour, stay productive, and I will see you again a little bit later for another one of these. But stick around, there's a new show coming up next, File New with Ryan Selvey. I want you to put some hearts in the chat as it starts. It is going to be a talk show all about everything that has happened this week in creativity and design. So stick around, watch the talk show, hang out with Ryan Selvey. It's happening every Friday to wind down your weekend. We're going to have some work with me, help you guys get ready, get projects done for that Friday so you can enjoy your weekend. Thanks so much for joining me. Stay tuned for more shows here on Adobe Live. Bye, everybody. Oh, and I'm going to leave you with the Zen of a Yule log, of course.